Hello Groypers, well where do I start? Well, another successful day in my opinion. I just want to say a massive thank you and well done for those 3 brave callers. We all appreciate you for taking time out to raise the awareness of the British demographic decline. Remember, it's not Mike Graham or any host on any other show we are trying to win over, it's the audience watching. And judging by the YouTube and the Twitter comments, it massively went in our favour. I've even seen supporters of Mike say they are ashamed in the way he has spoken to some of our Groypers. Some have said they don't know whether they believe our conspiracy theories, but do have a problem with the amount of immigration that is coming into our lands. So to me, with a bit more research from these people, they will see we are the truth tellers. So time to check out the 3 Groypers from today, and I will offer any advice I can to the best of my ability. Remember, I'm no professional expert and I appreciate how difficult these phone calls are, as I witnessed myself just a few days ago. So let's get straight into it.
He's in Southend. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. It's Mike, actually.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Mike.
That's
Sorry.
all right. Don't worry. It's easy to confuse the two.
It is. What I really wanted to ask you, though, is why are you lying to the public about the demographic replacement of Indigenous British people?
I thought you wanted to ring up about Brexit.
I do. I'm happy about Brexit.
Yeah, well, that's what it says. It says here, Sarah wants to talk about the Brexit celebrations. Everybody should get to Parliament Square. I'll be taking my flag.
So, we were reluctant to talk about this subject the other day when that chap called up, and I wanted to know why you were deliberately misleading.
Well, no, you've obviously not understood my instructions earlier on. What I said, if you want to ring up and talk about something, you should tell the people that you speak to what you want to talk about, and then you'll get on. But what I won't do is entertain people who tell lies in order to get on the radio to talk about something else.
You won't entertain people who tell lies. Well, why don't you quote what's on the ONS statistics about demographic replacement?
Well, why don't you read it out to me, and that way you can't then accuse me of not allowing you to do it.
Certainly. In short, the Indigenous British people will be a minority in England by 2060. You said this was wrong, but you won't discuss it with anyone. Why are you...
Well, I'm discussing it with you, Sarah. How am I not discussing it with anyone?
Well, the other day you said that the person who told you this the other day was wrong.
No, I didn't.
You're not wrong.
No, I didn't say she was wrong. I said that she was wrong. Oh, he.
He. He said he was wrong.
I said, well, anyone who thinks that the United Nations is working against the world to improve the population of any country by making sure that they take certain people from certain other countries is an absolute and utter pile of tosh. You know it as well as I do. Why don't you just admit, Sarah, that you don't like brown people? Why don't you just tell me that? Why don't you just admit you don't like brown people?
It's called the replacement plan.
Why don't... Yeah, but it's rubbish, though.
The UN website's rubbish.
No, the UN website is not rubbish. There is something on the UN website which you're too thick to actually understand. That's the problem.
Oh, please explain.
Well, why don't you tell me why you don't like brown people?
Where are you getting that from? Where did you hear that from?
That's what you don't like them, do you?
Why would you think that?
Because you seem very concerned about something that isn't true, and you seem very interested in spreading a load of old cobblers about some nonsense which is basically racist.
If it's not true, why won't you discuss it with anyone?
I'm discussing it with you now. What are you talking about?
Well, can we have a demographics expert on the show for you to discuss it with?
Well, who's the demographics expert that you'd like me to talk to?
Find one.
Can you find me a demographics expert in Southend, maybe? Hey, can you tell me how somebody next door to you has been replaced by somebody else? Have you got a theory on that?
Yes, it's on the ONS.
No. I'm looking for actual evidence. You're telling me that people are being replaced. Can you tell me of any friends of yours who have been taken away and replaced? Do you know what the word replace means? It means taking something away and replacing it with something else. Do you understand what that actually means?
So why is the UN website calling it a migration replacement plan?
Well, why don't you ask the UN?
I doubt they'd take my call. But
they won't take your call. Is that because you lied to them as well?
UN. What have I lied about?
You lied because you rang up and said you wanted to talk about Brexit, and as soon as you came on, you started talking about something else.
Well, you have to do this to get through because your handlers won't let me speak.
My handlers? I don't have handlers. I have producers who are human beings, right? They haven't been replaced by people from the United Nations. You ring them up and you tell them the truth.
Subject. We'll get a demographic expert on to speak to you.
What is the definition of a demographic expert?
Someone who studies demographics.
Oh, right. What is demographics? What is it?
The study of population.
All right, okay. So why are you so obsessed with the study of population?
I'm not obsessed with it. I just want to discuss
Sounds like you are obsessed with it.
Do you need to be obsessed to have a discussion on something?
Well, I think for you to call up to a radio station and tell lies about what you want to talk about in order to talk about the thing that you are seemingly obsessed about, which you have no evidence, by the way, you have no evidence that anyone's being replaced, do you?
Only according to what the demographic experts are predicting that white...
Oh, it's a prediction. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realise it was a prediction. I thought you were telling me that people were actually actively being replaced now.
Yeah, it's called the replacement plan. It's on the United Nations.
Oh, right. So when does the plan kick in? When does it start?
I think it started a while ago.
Did it? Whoa. What, so you mean there's already loads of people that have been replaced in Southend then?
Yeah.
Right. OK. So do you know anyone that's disappeared in Southend? Because this is a great story now. I'm thinking that we should get into it.
Are you? Well, in that case, let's get a demographic expert on to...
You've already said that. No, I want you to tell me whether or not there are people who have been replaced in Southend.
Well, wouldn't you rather speak to an expert than some idiot from Southend?
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Cheerio. Sarah's right. She's an idiot from Southend. But listen, if you want to ring up from Southend and you're not an idiot, by all means do so, because maybe you can tell me whether anybody's been replaced. This is Talk Radio.
Talk Radio.
First of all, well done to you, Sarah. You exposed on what a vile creature this man is. So apparently you have to ring up and tell the truth, and you will get on the show, while I will debunk that after the second video. Mike knows Sarah is talking facts, as he started to snore whilst she's politely trying to discuss her points. This is a complete ignorant attitude to have. Now Mike also, for some bizarre reason, has to say, just admit you don't like brown people. Wow. What we want, Mr. Graham, is for the white British to remain the super majority in our homelands. We don't want to harm brown people, or any colour for that matter. We are happy for them to be the majority in their homelands. So let's use India as an example of brown people. If we were to say to the Indians you would be replaced by white English migrants, do you think they would just say, yes, that's fine, we embrace diversity? No, of course not. They would want to remain the majority in their own homeland, and we would not have any issue out of it. And also, if we just started moving there, do we just become Indian? We might have an Indian passport, but if I moved there and had a girlfriend that was English and we moved there and had a child, does that make us all Indian? No, of course not. So this graph of cities and towns would be handy to have in front of your eyes whilst talking about demographics. He seems to like to dismiss the 2066 prediction, so let's highlight the towns and cities that have already replaced the British people. Also mention the fact that this is a 2011 census graph, so by 2021 more towns and cities would have dropped immensely, and with high fertility rates and more mass migration. That's why the prediction of the 2066 will come true unless action is taken sooner rather than later.
James, who's a first-time caller from East Anglia. Hello, James.
Hello, Mike.
How are you doing? Yeah, very well indeed. What can I do for you?
Well, I wanted to talk about predictions.
Okay.
If I may. I mean, the other day, it might have been yesterday. I can't quite remember. I watch you on YouTube, you see. So.
Oh, good.
I'm not always up to date. So you mentioned the other day about someone called in about these population statistics.
Oh, right.
Like
I thought you wanted to talk about the railways.
Well, yeah, I do want to talk about that as well, but.
Well, let's talk about that first, because that's what you asked to talk about when you came on the show.
Yeah, okay. So our railways, we pay quite high ticket prices, don't we?
Yes, we do. I mean, I've given up using the railways, to be honest. I gave up using Southeastern and Southern about sort of 5 or 6 years ago because it got so expensive that I couldn't be bothered giving them any more of my money.
Now, our taxpayers, we subsidise these rail networks. Some of them have had their licences taken away by the government.
Yeah, I think Northern Rail is getting stripped of its franchise today, which a lot of people are in favour of.
So EU countries, they own a lot of these railway networks, and they use them their own rail network.
Yeah.
Now, I imagine they use their forecasts by using predictions. Now, you said the other day...
What do you mean, their forecasts?
For passenger numbers, revenues, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I presume what they do is they take their current revenues and they take their current passenger numbers, and then they presume that they will keep those passenger numbers because they have to presume that whoever travels on their trains is going to continue to travel on their trains.
Yeah, so when a government does a census, for example, and does a prediction or does an actual indication of how many people they have in their country,
Yeah.
and then does a prediction into the future of population replacement, you don't agree with that?
Hey?
So
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Called in that we would be a minority in our country by the 2060s, and then you dismissed
What's
it.
that got to do with Northern Rail?
I just told you, it's predictions, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
If I'm going to forecast how much money I'm going to make, that's a prediction.
Well, why would I care how much money you're going to make? Hang on a minute. Why would I care, James, how much money you're going to make? How does that affect my life?
I'm not talking about me, am I? I'm talking
Well, you
about
are.
the country.
You're talking about making sort of nonsensical predictions about how much money you're going to make and how many people are going to be travelling on trains. I'm not quite sure what your point is.
You dismissed another caller the other day by making a prediction.
Who did I dismiss?
I didn't know their name. I didn't note their name down.
Oh, right. Well, so you're talking rubbish, aren't you, James?
No,
You've just called me up, right? You've called up here, right, to talk absolute and utter balderdash, haven't you? But unfortunately for you, we've run out of time because you've used it all up talking rubbish. But that's fine. You can call again at any point. But what you shouldn't do is lie about what you're going to talk about, because that will unfortunately find your measurement, and we will put you on the list of people who tell lies to try and get on the radio. If you want to talk about population control, or if you want to talk about the migration pact about the United Nations, just be honest about it. Just tell us that's what you want to talk about. Don't ring up and say, I want to talk about trains, and then start babbling on about the census, okay? It's a very simple thing. Tell the truth, and you will survive. Tell lies, and you will die. This is, of course...
Well done, James. Again, he had to lie, Mike, to get on the show, which I will prove in a second. If he's talking so much rubbish, then why didn't you let him have his say? You know, if I'm hearing somebody talking rubbish to me, then I would just put him in his place. But you didn't do that, did you, Mike? Saying you talk rubbish is not a valid argument or any kind of victory. So you've allowed other people on the show. There was probably workers in the backstage that you put up to do it to make us look like we were talking rubbish. But they was talking utter rubbish about our facts. So my question is, Mike, why didn't you make it a level playing field, Mike? Or would your handlers not like that?
Good morning, Talk Radio.
Hello, how are you? You alright?
Very well, Dave, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I would like to speak to Mike about the demographics. We were speaking on Twitter last night. He gave us a chance to ring in today, so I'd like to speak to him about the demographic decline of the British people, please.
Okay. And what's your point of view on that?
Well, I want to discuss, because obviously he thinks that white Britons won't be a minority by 2066, and we want to discuss that.
Are you a supporter of the replacement theory?
Am I a supporter of what, sorry?
Do you know this replacement theory that we've been talking about for the past few days? Do you believe in that?
Oh, I do, but yeah, I believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Are you in Norfolk, Dave?
Am I what, sorry?
Are you in Norfolk?
Norfolk, yeah, I'm in Norfolk.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right then. In that case, we're taking calls at 20 past every hour. We'll try and get you back. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, this recording was to prove a point. As many of you will know, I have one screenshot on the screen. Many times on Twitter yesterday, he was saying, come on the show, we'll discuss it. Well, I accepted your challenge, Mike. Why didn't I get that call back? I wonder. I rang before the show started in order to guarantee myself going on the show. So of course, I knew telling the truth wasn't going to get me a call back, because they clearly wanted to avoid the conversation full stop. So guys, I suggest when you phone in and he tries to grill you for lying, simply point out you've heard recordings of people telling the true reason of your phone call, and they didn't bother contacting or ringing them back to come on the show, despite offering them to come on the show multiple times the night before.
To David, who's in Oxford. Hello, David.
Hi, David. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. Very well. Nice to speak to you. What do you want to tell me?
Yeah, I've been listening in, and I've heard these sort of conspiracy theories talking about the replacement migration.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Well, I mean, some of what they're saying is a bit weird about the United Nations being behind it. I'm not too sure about that, but I think what you can shed light on is that the British people have a below replacement birth rate of about 1.7.
Hey?
And we're being... Sorry?
They have what?
Their birth rate is about 1.7. A replacement birth rate level is about 2.1.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Well, to have a replacement birth rate means that you keep the population at the same level, so you need a birth rate of 2.1.
Why?
We have a birth rate of 1... Well, because if you don't have a birth rate of 2 to replace the mother and the father, then the population will decrease.
So what you're saying is for every 2 people that die, you need a birth rate of 2.
Well, look, Mike, you need a birth rate of 2.1 to keep the population steady. Now, we have a replacement...
Well, how do you know that, though?
Rate of 1. From the Office of National Statistics, Mike.
Well, no, because obviously you have you have a moving population as well, so the population can grow in other ways, can't it?
Well, yeah, our population is growing, but it's a foreign growth.
Yeah, but what difference does that make? People come and go, right? Some people come.
I'm explaining.
Well, no, but my point is that one, I don't know how you know it's 1.7, and if it is 1.7, that's only 0.4 from 2.1. So you're actually only losing, 0.4 of a person.
Still declining.
Eh?
And with the British population is still declining, and we're bringing in 300 to 600,000 people every year who have a higher birth rate than us, Mike.
Yes. And
that's that. And what do you mean? And
and what? I mean, so you're stating the obvious, aren't you? There are people that come here, for example, from. Well, you are. There are people that come here. There are people who come here to work, right? Where do they stand if they come here to work but they don't have any children? What happens then?
But that's not happening, Mike. They're having more children than us.
There's loads of people that come to this country to work.
I'm talking on average. On average.
There's loads of people who come to this country to work, right, and work for, say, 5 years and then go back to the country they came from.
Okay, but
so how do you classify them?
How many people are staying?
What?
But do you know how many people leave the country?
Do I know? Yeah, let me just check my notebook, because I normally I get the people at Heathrow to call me whenever anybody leaves the country, so I can put another number on the old abacus.
Well,
what are you worried about? What's the problem, David? So just tell me what the problem is. Why are you concerned?
Why should we all understand that groups exist? Why should the British people go exist? Think? I mean, that will happen. That will happen if the
what's going to happen?
Stay the same. There will be no more British people.
Really?
The British people who exist today will no longer cease to exist.
Now, it says here that you studied demographics at university. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which university?
Hull.
It says Oxford here. You told the producer you studied it at Oxford.
No, I live in Oxford. I studied at Hull.
Oh, right. Hull University?
Yeah.
Who's the head of the demographics department?
Why do I need to tell you that?
Because I don't believe you did go to Hull University to study demographics. That's why.
James Albert.
James Albert? Okay.
Yeah.
And is he married, James?
I don't know.
Okay. How long did you study there for?
4 years. I mean, are we talking about my history, or are we talking about demographics, Mike?
Well, we're talking to you to try and find out why it is that you care about this problem, and why don't you just tell me the truth about why you care?
British.
Why don't you tell?
I'm British.
How are you British exactly?
Be replaced.
How are you British?
What do you mean? How am I British?
Yeah, what makes you
I'm
British?
Anglo-Saxon.
What makes you Anglo-Saxon? How do you know that? Well, how do you know?
Look at me, Mike.
Have you had a DNA test done on yourself?
No, I haven't.
So you don't actually know where you're from, do you?
Well, my mom's English, my dad's English.
Where are they from?
My grandparents are English, my great-grandparents are English.
Where are they from?
They're all from England, as far as I know.
As far as you know? They didn't come here from somewhere else?
Oh, you got me there, Mike.
Well, how do you know?
Well, I know because my grandparents are English, and my great-grandparents are English.
Where from in England?
Great-grandparents. I don't know.
How far? So you don't know, do you? But you don't know.
If you want to look at what I'm talking about as replacement, look at East London.
Yeah.
Can you describe East London as British?
I live in South East London, and I would very much describe it as British, yeah.
So there used to be...
When was the last time you were in Rotherhithe or in Canary Wharf?
There used to be a people known as the Cockneys, and which essentially no longer exist anymore. They used to dominate the East London area, and they've had to move out because...
The people known as the Cockneys.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Krays?
Yeah, I've seen The Krays.
Do you know that bit where the mafia guy comes from America?
I haven't seen it for a while.
All right.
No,
Well,
I'm not
he
familiar
talks
with it.
about the Cockney's as if they're like the Polynesians. He pronounces it all wrong. The Cockney's. He's like, I love the Cockney's. They're great. The Cockney's are people technically born within the sound of the Bow Bells. So if you're still born within the sound of the Bow Bells, you are a Cockney, are you not?
I don't know what your definition.
Well, that's the definition of a Cockney.
Find that the Cockney.
No, that is the
David.
David.
They
That
no longer exist.
that is the definition. No, David. That is no. You're wrong. You're wrong because the definition of a Cockney. Yes, you are wrong. The definition of a Cockney is no. It's not my definition. I'm a Londoner, David. I don't know where you're from. I'm from London, born and raised. And London, if you want to be a Cockney, you have to be born within the sound of the Bow Bells. Now, if you know where Bow is, you will know precisely what that means.
I know about where Bow is, yeah.
You know where Bow is? It's on the district line.
But if there's, I mean, I'm not too sure about the percentage of the British people in East London, but I'm pretty sure they're probably in a minority. London as a minority.
Are you British if you are? All right, hang on. Are you British if you're born in London? If you're born in London, are you British?
Well, what I'm talking about...
Answer yes or no. Yes or no. Are you born? If you're born in London, are you British?
You can be a British citizen, but are you ethnically British? Is a different category.
What? Do you mean white?
I mean British.
No, you mean white, don't you?
Well, white British is a category, yeah.
So you can't be black and British. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that. I mean, you can.
Are you saying? Well, can you be? Can you
be
be black and British, David?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah.
Right.
But
So what does that mean for the
we're
ethnic
talking
British
about
then?
Native British.
I think David. I think you're a bit confused, mate. I'm going to let you go because we're late for the news. But thanks for all of your efforts and thanks for all of the studying that you did at Hull University because it obviously taught you absolutely the square root of nothing whatsoever. Let's get some news headlines.
Well done, David. Brilliant work. Made some excellent points. What we also have to remember is that this isn't just a British replacement, it's a European replacement. We are all being replaced by the third world migrants. That statistics prove they are the biggest contributors to crime per capita. My advice to anyone that tries to tell a white lie, such as studying at a university, is to just have some research done to answer straight back. So how many diversion tactics did he actually use in this video? He will try and do the same with you. So my advice is just tell him your diversion tactics are an absolute embarrassment, and no doubt people watching now are laughing at you. So can we stick to the subject, please? Belittle him the best you can and always try keep on topic. Don't even answer his silly diversion tactics. Always keep on topic. Nevertheless though, I'm very proud of all three callers tonight, so well done. Well done, David. Brilliant work. Made some excellent points. What we also have to remember is that this isn't just a British replacement, it's a European replacement. We are all being replaced by the third world migrants. That statistics prove they are the biggest contributors to crime per capita. My advice to anyone that tries to tell a white lie, such as studying at a university, is to just have some research done to answer straight back. So how many diversion tactics did he actually use in this video? He will try and do the same with you. So my advice is just tell him your diversion tactics are an absolute embarrassment, and no doubt people watching now are laughing at you. So can we stick to the subject, please? Belittle him the best you can and always try keep on topic. Don't even answer his silly diversion tactics. Always keep on topic. Nevertheless though, I'm very proud of all three callers tonight, so well done. Right, just to conclude, I think you should all continue to target Mike for the rest of the week. He seems to think it's only just a small minority of us. However, the Talk Radio comments section on both Twitter and YouTube are by far in our favour. We must continue to push the demographic decline in mainstream on a daily basis. We do have a Telegram group and channel that we have uploaded graphs, stats, facts, sources, whatnot to help you be prepared for your phone call, so please check them out. Try different angles for your phone call. Perhaps act like a lefty, for instance. Say that the white British should look forward to being a minority underneath the beautiful Islamic religion. All depends how good your acting skills are, of course. Ask, is John Cleese racist for saying London isn't British anymore? Is the Dalai Lama racist for saying Europe is for Europeans? So again, massive thank you to all the Groypers that tried to get through and all the Groypers that succeeded. You made me very, very proud. So same time tomorrow. We'll also target other shows that we haven't, you know, organised as a group. Target them on your own accord, bring them up, record it, send them in. We need to just keep upping the pressure now and trust the plan. We have to trust the plan. So yeah, guys, add comments of advice and your thoughts on what you've witnessed today. And also don't forget to subscribe. Peace out.